Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. My name is Emma and today I'm going to see if I can make a beanie in a weekend. Spoiler alert, I am wearing the beanie right now, so I know the answer to this. So my friend asked me to make a beanie. He didn't ask me to make a beanie. He sent me this photo of him, his dog sitting, and they're all like cuddled up in bed with like 25 blankets. And I was like, it looks cold where you are. He lives on the other side of the world, so it is indeed very cold where he is. Right now, it is like close to 30 degrees, and I am wearing a freaking beanie indoors for this intro video. But anyways, it looks cold, so I was like, do you want a beanie? I'll make you a beanie, because I had yarn to use up. So he's like, yeah, I do want a beanie. So here we are, we're making a beanie. I kind of want to set myself a challenge of like finishing this in like a weekend, because I've got a whole bag that's sitting right behind this camera that's staring at me of knits that are pretty close to being finished or need to be dealt with. So I was like, if I pick up this project, this knit needs to be quick done. It's not going to hang around. It's also, like I said, he's on the outside of the world, so it's still technically winter at the point of filming this, but we're going into like spring, autumn seasons. So I don't know how much work he's going to get out of it by the time it actually ships and arrives to him, but nonetheless, now he'll have a beanie. So for this project, I'm going to be using this yarn that I got off Temu. I've got a bunch of this in my stash, and I don't particularly like it. It's quite a thick yarn. I would put that as being what, like an Aran or worsted weight. I don't know the difference between those two weights to like categorize this particular yarn. But she's quite thick. It's 80% wool, 20% polyester. It's got a little bit of stretch to it as well. And I don't know, I just don't enjoy working with it, and I don't enjoy the garments that it produces. I don't mind it for beanies, because I have made my cable beanie out of this as well, and I think beanies suit like a thicker yarn, so it works well for hats, not so much for really anything else. I just don't love it. So since I've got so much of this to use up, I was like, you're gonna get a black beanie. And you know what, I actually really like the look of this beanie, so I've got a few other projects in mind for this yarn. You'll see another video coming up around this yarn. But if I've got enough left, then I might end up making another one of these like for myself, because I kind of like it. It's comfy. Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this again. That's frustrating. Not only did I just fuck up my work, but my microphone was off the entire time. I don't know how to fix this. It's untangled. It means I have to start again, I think. So take, what's this, 3 or 4 now? I don't know. So as you can see, we've successfully cast it on now. I redid that cast on like, I don't know, 5 times or so. I just wasted so much time on it. I dropped the stitches a few times. One round I had like an incorrect stitch count. And then I did do twisted rib. Initially I wanted to do this in twisted rib, but I had got like 3 rows in and I don't know, it wasn't looking like great. It was looking kind of chunky monkey, and so I opted for standard rib. I just started again and did it in standard rib. So I don't know, it looks quite consistent. The twisted rib was just looking, I don't know, maybe if I had kept going with the twisted rib, it would have looked better as I got some length to it, but I wasn't happy with it initially, so instead of wasting my time, I just switched back to standard rib. So we're basically just going to continue knitting this until we get to like 8 to 10 centimeters in length. Actually, sorry, double that. I want my brim to be 8 to 10 centimeters. So double that. And we'll fold it and we will join this working end to the provisional cast on. And then we just continue to work and rib again until we're happy with the length. And then we do some decreases. Super easy peasy beanie. Alrighty, this looks super stupid on. I don't like this. So problems we have. It's probably a little bit too big, although it's ribbed so it will like cinch up, but the circumference is huge when it stretches out. So with some wear as the yarn stretches, it's going to become too big. This point on the hat is too pointy. And this length is probably a little bit too long for this type of decrease with such a thick yarn and fabric. So basically what happens when you wear it is you get this weird little like elf looking point, and it just it looks stupid on. the length doesn't look right. And because I opted for the folded brim, you either have to wear it like this or like fold it, which it's not quite long enough if you fold it, and the brim is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 centimeters thick. Like, it's ridiculous. So we're gonna rip this thing back and start again. So what I'm going to do different this time is we're not going to do a folded brim, even though it looks beautiful. Look how seamless that looks. Like, I'm so happy with that brim. It looks beautiful. It probably doesn't have as much effect because I've just continued with the same 1x1 rib the whole time. If this was ribbing and that was stockinette, it would be a little bit more obvious that there was a brim there that was folded. But it feels nice and squishy. It looks nice, and it's completely seamless on the inside. Like, that is a beautiful brim. I really like the Judy's Magic Cast On technique for doing provisional cast on and joining like that. Like, that is just super neat, super tidy. Love it. Anyways, I'm not going to do that on the next one. I'm just going to do a standard brim. So we'll do like probably go for like a tubular cast on. I'll decrease the stitch count. We'll knit slightly less length than what we've got here, but because the brim won't be attached, you'll be able to like fold it yourself to get the right length on the top of the hat, if that makes sense. And probably do different decrease style. So there is the, don't have my laptop in front of me. What pattern am I following? Give me a second. Yeah, so the pattern that I'm going to end up following is the Beanie Alba. It's a free pattern by Jocelyn and Fossey. And it is seamless from the bottom up, knitting 1x1 rib stitch in the brown. The bottom part has a folded edge. This is optional, so if you prefer, you can knit shorter without a fold. And the crown has centered double decreases, which gives the effect of 4 stitches that continue in a straight line. So I think that's kind of the same as what I've done here, but it will look like what the inside looks like, where you have like a line. So I'm not sure if I want to do that type of decreasing, although on their beanie it looks much more like rounded. I've got 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, 5. I've only got 4, so maybe that will make a difference in terms of decreasing, and it might not be decreasing at the same rate. Anyways, the pattern comes in a bunch of different sizes. You've got like baby to like adult sizes, and yeah, it calls for worsted weight yarn. So I'm pretty sure what I'm working with is similar to a worsted weight. And it recommends 4.5mm needles, which is what I knitted this on, and like, yeah, it does, it looks fine. But that was super tiresome on my hands, so I'm wondering if I size up in my needle to a 5, if that's going to look bad, or if that's just going to make it easier for me to knit. I'm leaning towards a 5. And then I'll probably end up making the size that is, probably go for a size 5, which is like the second to largest. So it says 57 to 60 centimeter head size, but if I knit in a 1 size larger needle, then I should get, how does that work? If I go up in needle size, I'll get less stitches, so won't I be making a size smaller? So maybe I should make a size larger then. I need to do some math there. But anyways, I'm going to size on one of the large sizes. But yeah, super easy. So this one just instructs you to do a long tail cast on, but to keep it looking nice and neat on that edge, I might do a, now I forgot what it was called, tubular cast on. Cool. Alright, take 2 done. I think this looks a lot nicer of a shape than the prior one did. It's like less pointy, more rounded. So I'm going to quickly try it on and see what it looks like. And then we will weave in our end, and then I've just got to block her. Cute. We're still very like wide on circumference, so I probably could have sized down one more, but anyways, here we are. And here we have the finished result on my head. This one looks so much better than the first one did. The first one looks so stupid on. The shaping of the crown was just like a bit weird. It went to a bit of a point, and I probably made the length a little bit too long. It just looks stupid. It looks stupid on. I didn't like it. And so, yeah, as you saw, I ripped that back and we started again. So I'm going to talk you through both hats and like what I kind of did differently between the 2 hats. So the first one, I didn't really follow a pattern. I kind of just looked on the Drops website and looked at a couple beanies, and that was more or less to get stitch count for like the circumference, because I wanted to do a 1x1 rib. Initially, I was going to do like a twisted rib, but when I started doing that, it looked a bit like fugly, so I ripped that back and started again just in like a standard 1x1 rib, and the second one I've stuck to the 1x1 rib as well. So I just loosely followed a pattern to get the kind of cast on number, and from there I kind of just knit to whatever I felt was right. And then when it came to doing the decreases, I looked at a pattern again. So I kind of looked at a couple different patterns, so there's not like one that I could direct you to. For the second hat, I did follow a pattern. So I followed the pattern for the, what are you called? This is called the Beanie Alba, and it's by Jocelyn and Fossey. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. So I'll have that linked down below for you in case you want to make the same. In terms of needles for each one, the first hat I knit on 4.5mm needles because I have made a prior beanie using the same yarn but in a different colorway, and for that one I used 4.5mm needles, and I don't remember having any issues when knitting with the 4.5s. But for this one, when I was making it with the 4.5s, I found like my forearms were getting really sore. I don't know what it is, if it's just holding the yarn, the tension, something, there's something different between the different colored yarns. Like, I don't know what it was. So when I made the second version, I sized up to 5mm needles. Now the pattern, if you are following, I'm pretty sure it's also on 4.5mm. Yeah, so recommended needles based on this pattern is 4.5. So I had sized up in my needles, and so because I was sizing up in my needles, I made one size down from the largest with the intent of the fit to be the same as the larger size. And I think I probably achieved that. If I was making this for myself, I would, I don't have any issues with knitting on the 5mm needles. I think there's not really much appearance to the difference in the hat, but I would probably size down one more for my head size. I think this fit will be fine on my friend. But yeah, for me, I would go down one more size. So the first hat, I wanted to do a folded brim because I'm now obsessed with the provisional cast on method of like folding and connecting and making like a seamless connected brim like the first one. I'm not gonna lie, like that brim looked nice. I was really happy with how that part of the beanie turned out. So I did the provisional cast on. I knit a brim to around about, would have been like 9 to 10 centimeters in length for the folded brim. And my intentions with the folded brim was that you could actually, in my head, I was going to continue to knit quite a lot of length from there so that you could wear the beanie just as is with the folded brim, or you could fold the brim up a second time, so triple layer brim, and have the hat like flat against your head. So if you wore it just as is, you would have a bit of puff on top, or fold it to have it flat down, so that you would have a couple options of like how you wanted to wear your beanie. However, as I was knitting that beanie, I realized that triple layer brim in this fabric is just like far too thick and it's going to look ridiculous. So I decided to kind of scrap that, and that's at the point when I decided to start doing my decreases. This particular beanie, we have the different brims, so we are not connected in any way, so that's actually probably a lot better for a gift knit, because now my friend will be able to just adjust the fold to wear the beanie however he wants. So if he wants to wear a flat against his head, or like, you know, you can make your brim a bit smaller and wear your beanie a little bit higher up, with a little bit of like puff, if you know what I mean. So it gives the user like or the receiver a little bit more options with how they want to wear their hat. So that's, again, this was my initial intention, was like you could either fold it or leave it not folded. And therefore you could style your hat 2 different ways. You can still style this in different ways, but you've got that flexibility in terms of fit, which is better than doing a folded brim where you don't have that ability to kind of adjust the fit in terms of length, if you know what I mean, because the brim is like stuck at a certain length. You can't really half fold the brim. I hope that makes sense and where I'm going with that train of thought. So this is, having a non-attached brim is definitely a better idea if you are doing a gift knit and you don't know the person or the sizings that you're really making for them, and if it's going to work. I think if you have like a textured beanie, like my cable beanie that is knit to a certain length, I think that styling is fine because the pattern gives you the length and that kind of like works out well based on the style of the hat. But just a basic plain hat like this, I think it's better to be able to custom fold your brim. Anyways, enough about the brims. So one was attached, one not attached. That's the gist of it. And then I just continued to knit up in length, and then we did decreases. So I did slightly different decreases on both hats. The first hat it was like a little chart, but basically you did a decrease, 1 stitch, and then another decrease, so that you created these kind of like triangle looking decreases. And that's why the crown of the hat ended up coming out a little bit pointy, because of the style of decreases that I did. They were also very evenly spaced. So you did a decrease row, a knit row, a decrease row, a knit row. Whereas this particular pattern has slightly different decrease style. So this was a centered double decrease, and for the first couple rows, you alternate between a decrease round and a knit round. And then after, I think it's like 6 rounds or something, then you just decrease every round up until the top. So it gives you a nice like rounded kind of top to the hat, and I actually really like that. I like the decreases. I think they look fine. I think because the fabric's so thick, I don't think any particular decrease style would look super duper neat. So I'm fairly happy with the centered double decrease. I think it looks nice in this particular style. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with this end hat and how it's come out. I kind of like it. Now in terms of time to make the hat, so I set myself a goal of like, I want this to be a weekend project, and like I kind of achieved that, like technically speaking, for this version I did. So the first version took me about 20 hours, so that was more like a long weekend knit. But the reason why it took me quite a long amount of time is because I cast it on that provisional cast on like 5 or 6 times. Like I just kept mucking it up. I keep dropping stitches, and like a little bit of the provisional cast on would unravel, and I didn't know how to like retwist that now unraveled bit to recreate the stitches back on my needle. So I literally started that like so many times, and like I say, I did also start it and do not broken rib, sorry, twisted rib. And so I only did like a couple rows before I was like, I don't like the look of it. And then I ripped back and started again. So there was a few false starts. So I think if we reduced those false starts, it was probably about 3 hours wasted time there. We would have been able to knit it in around about 17 hours. So still a long weekend knit. Whereas version number 2, this one was much quicker to knit. But keep in mind that I did knit it shorter, and I was on a larger needle. So all up I used a lot less yarn, less time, and it was less strain on my wrists as well. Knitting this one, so maybe I was able to also knit faster because of that. I don't know. But this one took me 13 hours to make. So I mean, if you basically want to like knit all day, yes, totally achievable. Do this over a weekend. It's like 6 hours or so each day. And in terms of cost, like I said, we'll average this as $3 per ball. First one I kind of used like 2 balls. I then unraveled that, rewound the yarn. Second round I used like 1.5 balls. So we're literally talking like less than $5 for a beanie. So in terms of materials, this one was a steal. So yeah, all up I'm really happy with how this hat turned out. I think it's cute. I think it's going to suit the recipient well. It's going to fit him well. I actually like it enough that I possibly might make myself one eventually. I've got a few project ideas in order to like use up this yarn that I have in my collection. I want to get rid of it. So depending how much I have left, if I've got another ball, I will be able to use up the leftovers from this one, because I got about half a ball left from this one. And then if I have one more ball spare, then I can make myself a version, because I will definitely be sizing down to, yeah, well, probably one smaller than this, because this fits nice, but I just feel like over time this will stretch out a little bit. It might be a bit too loose, but it's otherwise like I'm digging the fit of this. I think it's like a great size. So I might end up making myself one, we'll see. Not that I need more beanies. I have so many plans for like beanies all of a sudden, and like I'm not really a beanie wearer. But yeah, that's it for my little journey. This was just a quick one, guys. I just threw it out because why not? It was fun to watch the frog. I think that was like probably the highlight of anyone watching this video, was the unraveling. And now that I've unraveled one project, it's motivated me to unravel other projects. So keep an eye out, because we might have like a frogging video hitting the screens very soon. But yeah, if you liked this video, give us a thumbs up. Do those YouTube things if you care. I don't. But yeah, I will hopefully see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys. My hair's all stuck to it. We'll be just coming out of, what month are we in? I don't even know what time of year it is. Do you want a beanie? I can make you a beanie. And he was like, oh, you know what? I asked my mom for a beanie for Christmas, and she didn't send me a beanie. So I would like a beanie. So I was like, cool, we're going to make a beanie, because I prefer to have my hair tied up so that it's like out of the way, because having long hair is super freaking annoying. But anyways, guess now I'm going to be a beanie person. Because the working stitch. Oh, I think I've transferred the wrong stitches onto the wrong side. Lucky I brought more stitch markers recently. Holy moly, it's so hot today. Fluffs.